The following show contains adult content. It's not our intent to offend anyone, but we want to inform you that if you are a child under the age of 18 or get offended easily, this next show may not be for you. The content, opinions, and subject matter of these shows are solely the choice of your show hosts and their guests, and not those of the Entertainment Network or any affiliated stations. Any comments or inquiries should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for listening.
Hey everyone, and welcome to 50 Shades of Bullshit. I'm your host, Christine Lalonde, and this is the podcast where we uncover the truth about online dating. Now let's begin. Hey everyone, I'm Christine.
And I'm Steve. I missed my cue there.
Missing your cue. This is 50 Shades of Bullshit. Thank you for coming back. Welcome, everyone. Hey, Steve, how's it going?
It's going good. Maybe I'm not used to the co-host chair. Okay, I've got to put my co-host hat on. So
I know.
And I'm like, oh.
Oh, yeah, that's me.
My cue.
That's the way it is these days. How you been?
I'm good. I'm very interested in this topic we're talking about today. It's like, oh, okay.
Well, we've talked about different ways of staying safe, and I'm excited to talk to Lena again because it's been a while since she's been here, and I think that a good 95% of people these days who are dating are coming out on websites, dating sites, things that are matchmakers, things like that. But you just still have to be safe. And it's crazy world out there.
Yeah.
So what's your week been like? Anything exciting happening for you?
Well, if I might say from our last week's podcast, it was very interesting talking about manifestation. I've just had that in my awareness all week.
Yes.
Have you been practicing?
Yeah, I'm so upset at myself because I in a second when we bring Lena on, I'm going to go grab my books, but I bought 3 of the 7 or 8 books that Devin has written.
Wow.
I had no idea that he had written so many books, and I've been communicating with him, and I've been using the chart that shows what your rhythm is. And so I start my rhythm on Monday. And so I've been preparing and thinking and getting ready for my manifest for that rhythm of 369 that he was talking about. And now that I've read the book about the 369 rhythm, it makes a lot more sense. It's a lot more, it also helped that we were on the website. I mean, a podcast with him. So
yes.
I'm very excited to get it started.
And well, for me, that the last week was the 3rd of July. So I figured, well, I'll just start that day. And
gotcha.
I just wrote down something for myself, a little declaration or an intention. And then I did on the 6th something, and I did on the 9th something. And now I don't know what today's day is, but it's just something about, I wanted to keep it as really as simple as possible, just focusing my attention on what my attention on my intention. And let's just keep it simple, because I get way too complicated with things, and then I stop doing them, or I don't even do it.
Well, I think we need to get you on your proper rhythm.
Okay.
Because there are specific days based on the day you were born of what your 36-day rhythm is. And he sent me the link. I'll send that to you. If there's anybody out there listening who wants that link, you just have to email me at the 50 Shades of Bullshit at Gmail. Don't forget Y instead of the I for shit. And I know. But that rhythm, because I was going to start on the 3rd too. And I realized I had missed my rhythm by starting on the 3rd. So I start Monday. Monday's day 1 for me. So I set my intention on Monday. And then on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So Wednesday is when I actually start the first thing where I write. And then from there. So I've been preparing for that, and I'm like chomping at the bit to get at it, but I am registering in my mind really all the synchronicities and all the things that are falling into place, especially since I've been reading his books. And also, I've been listening to the podcast that he has off of his website. And and it is really fascinating to hear all this info. And I have to listen to it several times because it really is intense, and it's really talking about the way light bends and how light is a full circle and how the sun is part of that, and how all these things work together in this world. And it's kind of crazy and really amazing. So
cool.
fun time.
Stay tuned. I can't wait to hear more.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Some lights here.
Can you tell them what it is you're talking about?
We're talking
what to email you.
Oh, so if you all didn't tune in for last week, thank you, Rebel. Last week we had Devin on. Devin is he died, was dead for about
experience.
Yes, he died for about 30 minutes. He came back, and he had been downloaded with all of this information from in between time, that in between stage of the light and earth, and being alive in this plane. And he talks about the rhythm of 369 and how to manifest properly. So if anybody is interested in that, go back and listen to the episode and email us, and I will send you the link so that you know exactly what your 36-day rhythm is. Because I've heard for years about how we really shouldn't be 30 days, 28 to 30, 31 days for a month. It's supposed to be 36. There's not supposed to be 12 months in a year. There's supposed to be 13. They change these cycles to fit a certain type of calendar, and it doesn't even line up with the Mayan calendar. It doesn't line up with any of the others that are supposed to be properly the correct time. So in that, when I looked at my rhythm, okay, I took a screenshot of it. In my rhythm, it tells me my Gregorian calendar, which is 365 days. I'm 57 years, 4 months, and like 23 days now, something like that. The actual calendar that's supposed to be is 432 days, which means that I would be 48 years old, 5 months, and 33 days old instead of 57. So that maybe that's also why I look in my 40s instead.
Absolutely. Let's take it.
I'm not going to say it, but it tells you where you are in that cycle position, and it tells you in the 36-day month position where you are. So I screenshotted this on July 8th, 2 days ago, and I was in day 31 of 36. Gotcha. So the 36 days lands on Sunday, and then Monday's my day 1 again. So that's what I'm working on to start my manifesting. And once you start getting into that rhythm, but I'll text you this, okay? So you can check and see if you're on the right rhythm.
Yeah, I think one of the things that was most interesting for me out of the last session that we did, last podcast that we did, was I allowed myself to just not focus on what I would normally be skeptical about. I just got curious, and I thought to myself, well, is this something that is affirming of what I want in my life anyways, whether I believe the model that he downloaded or laid out, whether or not I believe it. Who cares if you believe something or not? If you're willing to experiment, and it's moving me in the direction of what I want for my life anyways. So who cares about whether you believe, whether you believe in something,
Agreed. If only people would open their minds just a little bit and say, oh, okay, I'm a little skeptical. I don't really know if I believe that. But then if they tried it and saw what it did for them, it's like, it's a lot of people like to talk about positive affirmations or positive thinking or positive this, positive that. That's what manifesting is.
Yeah.
It's just being positive about what you want, being very intent on what you want. It's like, things like that. And it's amazing. So I thought I was going to cough. So I took a drink so I wouldn't choke. And I choked anyway. All right. Well, welcome back, Steve. I'm happy to have you. My week is really exciting. I leave for Vegas this weekend. I'm shooting a commercial promo video for a company. I got hired to do that with my excuse me.
Uh-oh.
Doggone it.
You're falling apart.
I am. I'm falling apart with my production company. And then I haven't been home to Wyoming in 2 years.
Wow.
And I am missing my family and my friends. So I'm going home next week for a few days. Awesome. And I get to see Janice.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, so I'm very excited about that.
In Wyoming, or isn't she in Colorado?
She's in Colorado. I have to fly into Colorado and drive to Wyoming.
Gotcha.
It's a whole process.
Gotcha.
It's a big, like, where do I fly into? How do I get a rental car? Blah, 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 blah. So it's a journey. Or I drive 17 hours there and 17 hours back. And that's a no can do.
That's a lot.
My body's too old for that shit. So let's bring on Lena. I'm going to introduce her real quick.
Great.
I'm going to read her bio. Leo, Dad, I'm doing well already. Lena's evolution began when she was lost in the south of France. It was the first time in her life that she realized that she had the power to choose how her story would turn out. I love that for her. She did find her way home and eventually joined a coaching program that focused on relationships. She wanted all of her relationships to be better, starting with the one she had with herself. She started as a general life coach, then earned her certification. Now she helps women figure out how to date so they can stop wasting time with men who are nice, but not forever. So let's bring on Lena. She is a previous guest. Hello, Lena.
Hello, how are you, Christine? You okay?
I'm choking to death.
I've been sitting back here saying a little prayer for you, not to choke.
I'm like dying. So welcome, Lena. You look beautiful. It's great to see you.
So do you. Hi, Steve. Nice to see you.
Hi there.
I love it. So today we're actually talking about how to keep yourself safe online while you're dating. And we are very excited to chat with you about this. I do have questions. I have practical dating advice for that kind of thing, but we're very excited to hear your thoughts and how people, what's it like out there? How can they stay safe? What's your ideas on this?
Okay, well, great. So what I did a bunch of research. I do have my own ideas from working with clients and for myself being online and doing all of that. But I kept coming across the same types of advice and the same ways to avoid scammers, which were basically all about reactions to what they were doing. Meaning, he's going to say, I love you too quickly. He's going to ask you for money. I shouldn't say he, they, but it is women statistically get scammed more often than men, but men do get scammed. So I want to acknowledge that for your audience. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So probably the first thing that a scammer is going to do is going to want to get you off the dating app or the site as quickly as possible. Hey, let's chat on WhatsApp. When I hear WhatsApp, I'm like, no, thank you. I do want to do a plug. Having said that, first and foremost, if you're dating, and especially if you're dating on apps and online in whatever way you are, please get a digital number, get a Google number to use when you are ready to take it off the app, but maybe you're still not ready. You still don't know this person well enough.
Mm-hmm.
And there are so many ways to be able to keep ourselves safe. And that's really one really good solid one. Text and chat through a Google number. So,
yeah, I wish I'd done that earlier, and then I got to the point that I'm like, whatever, I'm already using my number. But, quite frankly, I think that's the number one thing right there, is making sure that your number's protected.
Yeah, that your number's protected, your location is protected, and so, and it's easy and it's free. So why not gift that to yourself, right?
Right.
So so another thing that is very general practice is if they make plans to see you at all, they're canceling them.
Mm-hmm.
So these are kind of all the things that I've seen on all the lists out there. These are the top 4, right? It's all about, they say I love you too quickly. They ask you for money. They want to move off a dating site. They keep canceling their plans. So when I coach my clients, we talk about the fact that there is so much they out in the world of dating advice. All the focus is on these other people, making a list about these other people, and what do I want that's about them, and what are they going to do, and what are they going to think of me? And it's very they. And I just bring it back immediately to start from yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So we start every time I start with someone new, we start with values and knowing rock solid who you are, what your values are. And so I started thinking about being safe online from the same place, right? Everything, there's a lot of stuff that we cannot control in life. But there are so many things that if we understood that we can take the control back and know that it has to start with ourselves, we would be so much happier. And so I started to dig a little, and all of the articles that I saw about people who had been scammed, and a lot of them were talking about, like from the Netflix shows, and they were interviews with people, and some people have been wonderful and so helpful to come forward and really talk about and share their experience so they could help other people. And they all were talking about, in that moment in time when the relationship started, that they were feeling vulnerable, that they were feeling scared, that a lot of women had just gone through a breakup, a divorce, or had not dated in a very long time. So they really were talking about how they were being and feeling in that moment. And I thought, that's really the key. Because if you're not really able to protect yourself in that moment that you start the relationship, all this other this advice doesn't really work, because you're not noticing the signs. You're not hearing it. You're not, what it comes down to is, what I've realized is that real red flags are the things that we ignore, or we allow, or we justify. So like
True.
someone who doesn't, either isn't making a date with you, or keeps making dates and then canceling them with you. And, if you've already started to feel like, oh, it's been so long since I've dated, this really attractive man is interested in me, I really don't want to mess this up. Well, I believe him. Why wouldn't he be telling me the truth?
Mm-hmm.
And it's that. And
yeah,
believing someone who doesn't have a track record with you is not trust.
Right. How would you say that someone could verify that someone is who they are before they even get to that point?
Well, there's there's ways to run, photos through, there's a whole bunch of different ways.
There's a Google oh gosh.
Well, yeah, there's a Google app called, I think it's called Lens.
Actually, just in your Google search, okay, if you hit the right here on the side of your Google search is a little thing that's a camera. If you hit that camera thing and you upload a photo, so I screenshot those, and then you upload it, and it'll tell you if that person is someone who's known through IG or modeling online or known as a scam, known for photos being used as a scam.
Yeah.
So yeah, there is that.
There is that. And I did that too, because I've been approached by people. Obviously, I just had somebody email me through my business website, like went to my website and, got the email that I used there for potential clients and sent me an email that was so terrible. It made me laugh. It's, I think so I had the experience on Facebook that somebody approached me, and I was already on hyper alert because of a couple of other things before I even ran the photo. The first is anybody who's got a picture in a uniform. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I know people who are doctors. They don't use a picture of them in their scrubs or in a white lab coat online, because online and dating is personal, and that's separate from what they do for a living. So it's medical uniforms, it's first responder uniforms, it's any type of military uniforms. Unfortunately, a lot of people put pictures of themselves or pictures with flags. All of the things that are meant to heighten our emotions. And, I'm just thinking about this now. It's all of the visuals that we've all learned to trust are now being used to get us to trust this person. So, everybody's got rules, and a lot of people have major rules. I always say rule 1 is, until you meet someone in person, they're not a real person. They're just not a real person.
I agree. Agreed. 100%.
Yeah.
What
will say, if I could just say, I will say that doing a video call with someone can really help qualify them. It's not a deal, but it can certainly bring you a big step closer to see, am I willing to have coffee with them?
Absolutely, which is why I also say, whether you think someone is a scammer or not, I really urge all of my clients to have a phone conversation, if not video, but a phone conversation, because, that's the other thing. There are a lot of people who are just making plans to meet everybody in person, and that gets exhausting. It gets really exhausting. When you can have a phone call with someone or a video call, that can really help you decide whether you want to meet that person.
Yeah, a video call is tricky sometimes. There are plenty of times in the past when I was online dating, and they would say, "Oh yeah, let's video call," and it was the same person from the photos, but it was a video, and they tried to pass it off as a video call. So there's a lot of BS in that area, and you just have to be careful,
Yeah, and so one thing about that though is that what's a lot of people put a lot of time into just one conversation, and a conversation is not a relationship. So even if this person is a real person, if you haven't met someone within, I'd say probably 2 weeks, unless you're looking for a long distance relationship, you have to be willing to walk away. You have to be willing to, I hope that you've continued chatting with other people who you're meeting, but you have to be willing to, and if someone, let's say this is someone who makes dates and then cancels them. And I would say that even the first time that happened, my response would be,
"Bye, Felicia."
Yeah, exactly. Bye, Felicia. But if you don't want to say bye forever, Felicia, you can say, hey, you know what? It doesn't sound like we're on the same path right now. Why don't you give me a call down the road if you ever have time to meet? And then walk away. But again, let's go back to the mindset of this person. You have to be willing to walk away. And a lot of people, the minute they make a connection with someone they think is a someone, and even if they're just messaging, what are you telling yourself? Are you telling yourself, oh, this person is so attractive, I'm lucky that they are talking to me? Yeah. Oh, it's been so long since I've had a relationship, I'm really lucky this person wants to engage with me? Are you telling yourself romantic love is the best kind of love and no other love counts? Because I have a lot of love in my life.
Yeah.
Right?
We have a question in the chat that you're kind of pointing to, and this is Charles. He says, why do you think we're blind to the red flags in front of us, and how can we be sure to see them? I think what you're pointing to is if your self-image is one of, like, you don't see or feel or in touch with your own value, you're going to overlook these things. You're going to be completely blind to them. If you don't know who you are, and if it looks like there's scarcity out there and quality people, and all of a sudden someone shows up who's giving you some kind of validation, then you might be more inclined to overlook these things.
Exactly.
Well, they're targeting, people who are fresh out of a divorce, freshly widowed, people who are vulnerable, who are just needing that attention, and they're getting it from somebody, and they see an attractive photo and they're like, oh my God, he's so into me. And he's married with 2 kids and is 45 years old, and he's saying he's 25. You know what I mean? It's like, or he's 65 and he's, pretending to be this picture.
He's even that. So the person who started out targeting me, it was actually how many people? Because my experience was somebody approached me on Facebook and I was already highly skeptical. And I did my due diligence, and I saw immediately that the photo had been used with a million different names. So I thought, oh, I got nothing to do for a little while.
I've had fun with these fools. Yeah.
And that is the only reason to stay in contact with someone. If you want to feel like you want to have a little fun and you can stretch it out. And what was really interesting to me is I stretched it out to the point where it started off with perfectly written English, grammar, spelling, punctuation, all of it. And after about 2 days of that, when they felt like they had me on the hook, then it became, I don't know how many different people. Then it was,
they take turns.
Incomplete sentence. That's the other thing, though, that I haven't seen on these lists. That's a huge red flag. And there are a lot of people for whom English is a second language. And I have a lot of respect for people who speak and write more than one language, which I don't. But even there, you can kind of tell. I can usually tell if English is a second language because it's usually just the tenses, right? It's not total, you can't understand what they're even trying to say, right? So that's another thing to look for too. But going back to that question and your point, Steve, if you're going into this knowing who you are, you will really more be able to see and not want to justify something that you can see is not right.
Well, it's funny because over the years, I've had at least 3 times over the years that I can spot somebody who's a scammer from far away. I have this like innate thing. So I have had fun with it. And I'm the one actually zen. Okay. I get them to the point. I literally have gotten them to the point that they break down because I say to them, now I know that you're not who you say you are. And I start manipulating them, and they have actually come out and show me real pictures, real video, real who they are. They have broken down and told me why they do it, where they're doing it from, what, all these things.
So I want to
Oh my gosh, I bow to you. I love it. You are skilled. I love it.
But I do want to know what are some of the things underneath it? I mean, what is?
I'll tell you.
Yeah.
So, all three of them were from different parts of Africa.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Different lower income, struggling nations. Okay, countries within Africa, and they have said that job scarcity is really difficult. They are struggling. They can't feed their families. So they go to these internet cafes and they go online and they steal the photos. They create these stories and they all share them, and they all take turns. They rotate and they go into these untraceable areas, for these coffee houses or internet cafes, and they use the computers that are there, and they just work it. That's their job. They're talking to hundreds of people at the same time, and they're hoping that they can get $10 from here, $5 from there, $200 from there. They start out big. They start out at 10,000, 2,000, 5,000, things like that. They get as low as 500. I've heard they said that they'll even, if they have hundreds of people on the line, thousands of people on the line, they'll ask for $10-$20 because if it just keeps coming, they get invested in the point to where they're like, they don't care about the person. They don't see the person as a person. They see it as a job. And a few of them over the years have tried to stay in contact with me and telling me that they've fallen for me and bullshit like that. It's hilarious. Like, I fallen for you for real. I'm like, whatever. But it's really funny. And, I've had some real conversations with these people, like literal conversation video chats where they're talking to me and saying, yeah, one guy said, I never thought I'd tell anybody. He's like, but you were so easy to talk to and you just kind of got it out of me. I said, I have that talent. And it's interesting. It's just a job. Yeah. It's typically someone, you might envision it being somebody that's catfishing you or scamming you. But a lot of the catfishes that are, say, like, I don't know, some 300-pound guy in his shorts sitting in front of his computers, pretending he's a girl with a guy. That's just a thrill. That's different. That is somebody really needing a connection with somebody, and they're afraid that they're not going to be liked for who they are. These internet scams are people from other countries with not a lot of money, not a lot of opportunities to make money, and they are taking whatever they can along the way.
I wonder if there is if they've run statistics on whether they're more effective being engaging with women or engaging with men, because I am quite sure that there are times that I have someone who's a man who's coming after me, trying to sweet talk me and just sending me pictures of women. It's just like, okay, come on. I know this is probably some guy sitting in an internet cafe.
I'm looking real quick.
That's a really interesting question.
It says here, men statistically report more financial loss per scam, whereas women report more cases of being targeted, but often with smaller dollar amounts. So again, like I said, they're getting women on the line, and then there are some that go after the men because they're looking for the bigger payday.
So I have an idea, Lena. Maybe you can compile some suggestions and we can start a consulting firm for people who have bad grammar, and we can coach them on how to be more effective with their scams.
That would be great, Steve. What a great idea.
You get a percentage of their cut just for correcting their grammar.
I don't know. I think I'd rather go teach English in an elementary school if I'm going to correct grammar, actually. Yeah.
Well, I do have some common red flags for this actual scenario.
Yeah.
They like Lena said, they avoid live calls, video chats, their profile pictures professionally modeled or overly polished. They fall in love or become intensely interested very quickly. They always have a sob story, a medical emergency, stuck overseas, lost wallet, blah, 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 can't get to an ATM, bullshit. But the big one is that they ask for gift cards, crypto transfers, wire transfers, and they ask for iTunes cards and things like that. So be aware of those.
What's really interesting about that? You just reminded me about something. So that movie, The Tinder Swindler, right? Yeah. This guy who took so many women for so much money, and he just presented himself as this huge player. Mm-hmm. What I don't understand is it was the same line though. And this is not, someone working like what you were just talking about. There are people out there who are playing this game at a astronomical level financially. Mm-hmm. So I can't imagine that if someone who was presenting himself to be incredibly wealthy suddenly told me that he needed me to send him money, I can't imagine that I wouldn't at least say, why?
Yeah.
Right. Well, I think it's a psychological thing. These people are very good at getting to the root of what makes people give up the dollar. And that is an emotional tie. They don't ask too soon. They make sure they get the person to fall for them first and get them to fall in love with the concept, the overall kind of situation, the possibility. Women fall in love with the possibility of men, not what men's abilities are.
Right.
So they do play on those. Women with money tend to be more freer with giving up money because it's like, oh, well, they've got money too. They're used to that, so I don't know. It's an interesting concept, but I do know that as long as they can get to the heartstrings, they're much more likely to get to the purse strings.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you have to be careful.
And you do have to be careful, but I just keep going back to the same root, which is the stronger a belief you have in yourself, and the less that you're looking outside of yourself for any sense of filling a need.
Yes.
That is already going to put you in a much stronger position to not be swept up in that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
how do you create an experience of worth and value when you're feeling like you don't have any value?
That's such a good question.
Like you have someone who's not dated in a long time, or maybe they're going on a lot of dates that don't materialize into someone. They haven't met someone. I'll tell you one for me is the better relationships that I have with my friends, the higher the bar for meeting somebody new. It's like, I have awesome friends. I love my friends.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And to that point, exactly, like you read it in my bio, when I got to a point in my life where I realized that I did not have the relationships that I wanted to have. And I wasn't only talking about dating, but I noticed that might be the first thing that a woman notices, that, but then when I looked around the rest of my life, I had good friends, but I'd never been someone who had a lot of friends. And so I started to really think about that and think about, what do I want? And I realized then, when I really gave myself the time to think about it, I needed to have a better, more solid relationship with myself first. And so that was where I put the focus. And it wasn't easy to do that. It's like admitting something really hard to yourself. But I guess what I'm saying is that if you are someone who feels like you don't have a lot of people in your life or don't have the love in your life that you feel like you'd like to have, rather than going out and asking people in the world to fill that for you, start with yourself. And I don't mean that there's something wrong with you.
Right.
You have to start with yourself. Start with building a relationship with yourself. Start with enjoying yourself. Figure out what you like. Figure out what you love. Figure out what makes you tick. All the things that you would do for another person in a relationship. Do it for yourself. Build from there. And then you're going to be able to build so many more stronger relationships. And romance will come along with that if that's something that you want.
Right. Also, if you think about it, you are who you surround yourself with. So you have to be aware of who you have in your life, who do you, associate with, because as Steve said, as you raise that bar for yourself, for your friends, you're not gonna go with a low level, interest, you know what I mean?
Well, that's what comes along with that. Exactly. I love that you said the bar is raised so high. I think, this is what's really hard for a lot of people who are doing the work and who are, having better relationships with themselves and expanding their friendships. Some of us may have some people in our lives who are not necessarily good for us, who are not supportive, who are not loving, who might, and there comes a point where you may have to really be willing to complete that relationship to be able to move forward and not have that relationship keep holding you back. And I know that that's easier said than done, but it's necessary sometimes.
Right. Well, I have some practical advice to help you stay away from scammers online before we're done with time. Trust actions, not words. If you've heard anything what Lena or any of us has said today, trust the actions, not the words. Never, ever, ever, ever send money. No matter what. I don't care if their kid is dying or their fucking dog is in the emergency. Don't ever send money. You don't know this person, no matter what. Stick to the apps until they earn your trust. Don't just give your number out willy-nilly, like Lena said. Get a Google number.
I love that. Get a Google number.
Insist on a video call early. If they won't do it, move on. Do a reverse image search, just like we just said earlier. Do an image. It's called reverse image search. It's very easy to do. You can get it on TinEye. It's TINEYE or Google reverse image search. Watch for too much too soon. That's the love bombing. You're my soulmate. Let's build a life together. And that's within days and weeks and months. Are you fucking kidding me? Okay. Be careful with what you share. Do not send nudes. Do not send private information. Do not send your address. If they say, I want to send you a gift, I want to send you flowers, do not ever until you meet them and then you know who they are. Be careful with, watch for vague or scripted answers. Tell a trusted friend everything. If you're texting and starting to call with somebody and you're going to meet with somebody, have someone have your, what's it called? Location
finder. Yeah.
Yep. And the last and most important thing that I think is important is trust your freaking gut. If something feels off, don't do it.
Exactly. And I want to add something, if I may, to that. That was a great comprehensive list. And when Christine said, even if their dog is dying, even if their kid is dying, even if whatever, I want you to think about it in these terms. That isn't happening. That is what they say is happening.
Right.
Can I say one more thing about that too?
Mm-hmm.
If they don't have a network of friends and family in
Oh, that's
their
the other
life
tip off.
Boom,
who can
chakalaka.
step in and support them, then why do you want to be connected with this person anyways? They
Right.
should have, you need, your dog's dying, have your neighbor take you.
Have your neighbor take. And the other thing, that's the other thing. And, on dating apps, obviously you don't know, but on Facebook, you can see that someone's got 3 friends.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's a no.
Yeah.
That's a no.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely.
I have always said so many times, it's so funny when someone approaches me and they're like, oh my God, this and that's happening. And I say, wow, this is a great opportunity for your friends and family to step up for you. That's amazing. Good for you. And they're like, oh no. And I say, then the answer, no.
Yeah.
Misty said, so just don't have anyone. Well, there are some real people on dating sites. You just have to be diligent. There are real people that will meet you and make a date and be interested in dating. But see, this is the thing. I'm going to go off of what Lena said. If you've done the work for yourself and you have your own life going and you are happy and you are fulfilled within yourself, you're going to see that those kind of situations are not going to come to you as much, or you're going to notice the red flags sooner. And I will tell you, I've done variations of dating throughout these last 15 years that I've been not married, single. Okay. And I've watched the cycle for how I am. And in these last 3 years that I started doing all the work and changing my life and working on me, and I'm fucking happy as hell. Okay. I went back on the dating sites. The most recent time that I went back on the dating sites, I have not had one scammer.
Right.
Not one. My profile is different.
Yep.
I have a little, let's see if we can end on a positive note. What are 1 or 2 green flags about someone that you could look at and say, wow, okay, what are
Okay, green flags are people who have, even before you engage with them, they have great pictures. They're showing you something about themselves. Their words are showing you, they're painting pictures. They're not, when you start to message, you're having a conversation in your messages, and they know how to engage and keep a conversation going. And when you move to a phone call, they know how to hold a phone conversation. They're not just doing this all the time. So those are green flags. And the biggest green flag that I can tell you is that there's mutual interest and you act on it. You don't have to wonder. If someone wants to see you, they're asking you out on a date. They're making that plan. They're following through. They're not just sending a like and thinking that that's all that there is to making a connection. They are as involved in making a connection with you as you are with them. And I mean, like, my chest just felt lighter when I said that. You'll feel it. You'll feel it. And it'll just change everything. And to your point, Christine, I love what you just said. I love hearing about how your last 3 years have gone. And the thing about that is that, are there still going to be scammers in the world? Yes, there are. And there are probably some people who think, I only attract this type of person. I only attract scammers or whomever. No, it's not that you are attracting these people. It's that something about them is attractive to you and you are engaging with them.
100%. Energy feeds energy.
And Christine is no longer engaging.
Yeah, exactly. There's a lot of people that will like your photo and not send a message. My go-to, by the way, works like magic. If y'all want it, I will tell you. I always send the message, a like without a message, ? classic plot twist. I'm hooked. What's next? And
love it.
It is the most engaging situation that I've ever had. Scammers tend to go away because they are seeing that I'm, and it starts the conversation better. And it's not, you got to get past the hi, how are you? Great. How are you? Beautiful. Oh, wonderful. Good morning, beautiful. Fuck that shit. Okay. Let's have a real conversation. And if you don't, I'm blocking and deleting.
Peace out.
Exactly.
I love that.
Thank you for coming today, Lena. I really appreciate you. Happy to have you back.
Thank you. I appreciate you. Thank you for having me. And Steve,
absolutely.
Thank you.
I know. Steve, you're the best as always. Thank you everyone for coming and joining us today. We are going to be here again next week. Next week, we're talking about poly relationships. So that's going to be a really good one. We've got a couple of guests coming on. So come back for that when you have a second. And until next week, same time, same place. Let's just keep this shit real.
If you enjoyed this episode, please share with your friends, like and follow us on Instagram at 50 Shades of _bullshit and Facebook at 50 Shades of Bullshit. Thanks so much for listening, and we really hope to see you again next week.